States of America, and greetings to everybody all over the planet. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. This is the Kevin J. Johnston Show, which will play every single Tuesday, 7 p.m. Calgary time, 9 p.m. Toronto time. Oh, it is so good to see all of you. We have had amazing weather here in the province of Alberta. In fact, it's borderline Florida weather last week of September. So for those who are familiar with it, it is a wonderful, wonderful time to be here. In fact, Alberta in the summer is phenomenal. If you have a look at the map, everybody, I'm from Toronto originally. I know, don't hold it against me. I hate the place. But Calgary is about 440 kilometers north of Toronto. So in the summertime in Toronto, the sun goes down in summer. I guess what, about 9:30, 9:40? Well, the sun is like still up somewhat at 10:20 p.m. now. And in June, the days are even longer. My moods are incredible in summertime in this province because the sun is up at 5. Down a little bit of daylight left at 11 o'clock. It's just phenomenal. So try it out. I'd actually like to head north to Fort McMurray, which is an 8-hour drive, maybe 9-hour drive north of Calgary, because apparently in June, the sun does not go down at all. That is something I have never experienced, and I certainly would like to experience. So we've got Ed in tonight. We have Stefanos Karatopoulos here tonight. We have April LaJune from the US of A joining us for about half an hour tonight. We're going to talk about all that LGBTQ radical leftist crazy Satanist nonsense that is seemingly just about to bankrupt another major corporation. But I'm going to let her talk about how that is going on in the United States. There's a few other things that we all need to know. She'll inform us. My understanding is at 10:30 p.m. Toronto time, the next mayor of Toronto, Chris Sky, is going to come in here and tell us how his campaign is going. And we're always looking forward to hearing from him. All right, let's just cover it. Let's bring in our political analyst, our legal guy, our not as good looking as me, kind of clever guy, Stefanos Karatopoulos. All right, Steph, check this map out. All right, here we go. This is the Alberta election that just took place. Everyone wanted to know how it went. So blue are conservative votes, and that kind of PP yellow, orangey, whatever thing, that's the NDP. That's communism. Those are people that voted for communism. Of course, it's in the 3 biggest cities: Edmonton, Calgary, Lethbridge. Wow. What the hell, man? Let's get your take on why the cities always vote crazy. Go ahead.
Because that's where they pile everyone in, man. And that's where, they play certain roles, the big roles when it comes to provincial elections, at least in Ontario, Toronto and stuff. But they all flock to the cities, and there's not, the rural areas, whatever. But that's the kind of thinking, that mentality is a very big different mentality in a rural area from a city area.
Yeah, look at this. Let's have a look at the election results. Now, for those who are outside of the province of Alberta, in Canada, we have 10 provinces, which are independent countries. They are kind of governed by the federal government, the Dominion of Canada. None of them can agree on a damn thing. And all of them are very different from each other, kind of like U.S. states. The premiers of the provinces are like your governors, but the premiers, if they have a little bit of guts, have more power in the province than a governor would have in the United States. It's kind of strange how that works. They have entirely too much power at their disposal. In fact, I don't know what year it was, but premiers of provinces used to be called prime ministers because essentially that is what they were. They were the minister of prime in the individual provinces. But let's have a look here. I hate the Calgary Herald, so by no means are we giving these morons any particular free press. I hate the Herald. It's fake news garbage. But you have a look here. This is Peace River, famous area up by the Northwest Territories. UCP, 8,233 votes. NDP commies, 2,591. Fort McMurray, where all the oil is, they knew the NDP would shut them down. So if you look at those numbers carefully, Conservatives, 6,418 votes. And the Nazi Party, 1,886. Wow, the independents got almost nothing, 966 votes in those areas. So these are other Lesser Slave Lake, 5,100 to 2,600. You've got Fort McMurray and Lac La Biche, 7,600 to 2,500, and so on. But if we scroll down a little bit here, this is Edmonton. This is the Banff Kananaskis area. Look at how close that one is. Nazis got 11,487, and the UCP got 11,288. So we scroll down, a little bit here. Oh, where's the rest of it? Oh man, did they change this? I think they changed it all up. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Here we go. I found it. We're good. So, Edmonton. It's all Nazi. It's all orange. It's all New Democratic Party. It's all communist. My God, what is wrong with you people in Edmonton? Are you really that brain dead? Do you just not know what communism is? Do you just not know that Rachel Nazi already had her shot as a Nazi and destroyed the province? Did you all forget that? What are you all looking for? Something for free? Probably.
That's where they truck in all these people. They bring all their people in there and they get them addresses and they vote like crazy, thinking they're gonna make a dent of some sort. You see, that's why that happened.
Okay, so the communists won all of Deadmonton, Moronton, Stupidton. Pick a name. I cannot believe what I'm seeing here. This is out of control. And if you live in Edmonton and you voted anything other than Nazi, I love you. But if you voted for this garbage, you suck. Don't watch this show anymore. Go away. All right. So we go to Calgary, and you'll see that Calgary is really stupid in the middle for some reason. All right. Now, I just want to kind of move into the middle here. Calgary, where are we there? Varsity. Okay, Varsity, that makes sense. That's where all the university retards are. And then you've got Beddington. That's a close one, 10,270 to 9,685. Nothing special about that particular neighborhood. Calgary, Klein, again, very close. There's looks like 3,000 votes separating them. Calgary, Buffalo was, I think, mostly downtown. The NDP had about 5,000 more. Calgary, Elbow, there's only about 1,000 votes between those two. All right, but then these areas here, I'm actually a little surprised about these areas. These are all very brand new. Down here in the southeast, you've got Mahogany, Seaton, what else? Cranston, Mackenzie Town. These areas, they're very brand new neighborhoods with young families. So I figured that would probably have gone orange as opposed to blue, but I'm glad it didn't. Over here in Calgary East, that's where all the prostitutes are. I figured for sure they would have voted for the Nazis, but they didn't. Thank God for that. Then up here, where I am in the Northwest, we have, look at the difference there. Look at the difference, 11,926 to 11,777. So I guess half of my neighborhood is retarded. It's just, what else can I say? There we are. 49 seats to 38 seats. No independents and no other parties got in. That's not good. 44 seats are required for a majority government here. At 49, there is a chance that something really stupid that will be proposed won't get in. So I don't know if if there's any members of this Conservative Party that will vote against the next lockdown that's coming. And we know that there's going to be one coming. That we are absolutely positive on. I'm willing to bet it's going to be a climate lockdown. I think we know that's coming too. So, Steph, what are your thoughts? I mean, do you think that we're actually going to see some realistic voting, or are they just going to let Danielle Smith do what she wants? She's the new premier, by the way.
Yeah, they're all going to have to toe the line. She's got a majority, so whatever she brings in, they're all going to vote for. Mind you, I have no confidence in her whatsoever. She went along with Justin's just transition. So, they're all pushing the same garbage. Let's see what kind of garbage they push, to what extent and at what speeds. That's the general difference between the parties. They're all pushing communism, period.
Well, yeah, we know that. I mean, if you guys remember Jason Kenney when he was in power, he came out and said that he went to the World Economic Forum and that he wasn't going to cooperate with them because it was all scary, scary stuff. And then what does he do? Cooperates with them fully, and militantly, disgustingly militantly, and then locked me up because I divulged that he was gay. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, that's what happens, Kevin. They're all in bed together. The only difference between the parties is color now, and that's it. Nothing else.
That is the unfortunate reality. And you know what? I do not disagree with that particular statement. By the way, everybody, we do need to raise funds for my appeal. My appeal with AHS having got that decision against me to remove my rights to criticize them and your rights to criticize the government. It's on appeal. We got to raise funds. So we have this amazing lady from Warburg, Alberta, had lunch with me on the weekend. And these are handmade. All right. Rain rattles, native. Look at that. Real rawhide, everybody. So she made a bunch of these. If anybody wants these, donate something realistic because I still have to ship them to you. All right. So there we go. Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? These things are fabulous. This one here is a fox head. All right. Handmade. Real wood. This one is hand painted. Check that one out. All right. We got two more here. Is that a puffin? I'm not sure if that's a puffin, but this one's got real fur on it. Real fur. Check it out, everyone. And we have one more here. Again, hand painted. Check them out. So if anybody here wants to get their hands on native stuff, native rain shakers, let us know. All right. You guys can go ahead and donate today. Throw a donation up there, freedomreport.ca@gmail.com. You can also go to my personal website, kevinjjohnston.me, and make a donation there. When you do make your donation, again, make it reasonable. Don't think you're going to get one for $10. Come on. All right. Make something reasonable, but include your address, please, so we can ship it to you. Ed, what's up?
Let's auction them off. Let's do just two of them today, and we'll save the puffin for next week.
Okay. So
send in your.
Okay. Well, tell you what, you guys can pick the one you want. How's that sound? Whatever it is, throw something our way. Let us know what you guys want because these are handmade. The lady who made them is a wonderful soul. On top of all that, everyone, she was really concerned about my health. So she brought me some incredible herbal teas out of her own garden. So, I mean, people in this province are fabulous. And I do want to say thank you, except for the ones that voted NDP. You're idiots. But the rest of you are beautiful. And I love you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Hang on. The people that voted NDP, they only voted NDP because they think it's the best thing for them. They have no idea what the hell communism is. They have no idea how nasty life would get. And they're disillusioned. So idiots, yeah, maybe. Well, probably. Stefanos?
All right. Just want to say hello to everybody in the Rumble chat. So we got Sandy from PEI. We have WP Gurmek from Winnipeg. We have Kelowna from I Am a Bushwhacker. Nice name. Oily Film. I'm not sure where you're from. We got Curly from Ontario. And what else do we have here? Okay. Not everyone's telling us where they're from. And in D Live, we've got a couple of folks. Hey, Chris in Niagara Falls. Thanks for being here. We do certainly appreciate that. Okay, Steph, you said something was eating you. What's up?
Well, what isn't eating me? So I've known
me. I'm not eating you. Not now, not ever. What's up?
That's not true. So we were discussing healthcare in Ontario. There's some very disturbing things going on in hospitals. There's been several people who parents, grandparents have gone in to the hospital for a broken hip. Next thing you know, they're on palliative care and into the grave. So they're knocking off elderly people. And there's another very disturbing situation that happened that I've been made aware of. And this is going to be coming later on. We will see about getting one of the involved parties on the show. But if you have somebody going into the hospital and they're elderly, make absolutely sure that you have somebody with them 24/7 There's been some really nasty things have happened. I won't mention any hospitals as of yet or parties involved, but there's some real mistreatment going on, starvation, stuff like that, uh, injecting them with things they shouldn't be, and then eventually passing away. But very inhumane treatment of the patients. And we have a real problem. In Ontario, it's bad. It's very bad. Yeah.
Well,
So
go ahead. Ed, what's up?
I heard from a secondary source. Remember Rocco Galati was ill last year?
Yes.
He thought they were trying to kill him. He hired private security to stand outside his room 24/7.
What does that tell you about the state of our country when someone has to hire security to keep doctors from poisoning them? What does that tell you?
We don't know if it's the doctors, though. It could be nurses. Apparently, a lot of the people don't even speak English that are working as nurses' aides or nurses to be. A lot of these people have been brought in from other countries. They're working as subcontractors for another company. And I guess as a subcontractor, it kind of takes province's liability away, doesn't it, Stefanos?
No, it's not going to remove anyone's liability. They're still going to be liable. But what's going on also is the fact that a lot of them don't speak English at all. They have no medical training, no medical background, and they've been told, just go in here, start practicing, and if you decide to stick with the program and get licensed, we're going to grant you citizenship.
Aha.
Meanwhile, we got perfectly good nurses sitting on the sidelines that are still out of work, and I think a lot of them have no intention of ever going back.
Well, why would they? You know, and look, there's a friend of mine. I don't know if she's watching the show or not, but she is a nurse. I'm not going to say where. I kept asking her because single mom. All right, she married a guy. Guy ended up being a loser. She did the right thing and kicked him out. And now she's a single mom working all these shifts at a hospital. I won't say where. And she's constantly in tears and not able to make her bills. And I'm thinking, you know, she's somewhere around $40 an hour. And how is she not making her bills on that? And then we started looking at all of the expenses to live where she's living in this ridiculous country. And it turns out she is actually having a shortfall. So to work as many hours as she is, which is 60 hours a week, coming home exhausted, not spending time with her children, and then not paying her bills. First thing I asked her is, why not get the hell out of here? Just go to the United States. Go. Americans snap up Canadian nurses just by you setting out a resume. They can't wait to get their hands on Canadian medical care staff. First thing out of her mouth, I hate America. Can't stand the Americans. I hate that Trump. I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go. Hey, what are you afraid of? Trump's going to win the next election? He might, you know. But prejudice, like the idea of prejudicing yourself because you have a notion in your mind that you don't like a place is not going to do anything for you when you can't pay your bills, but you could go somewhere else that you can and not only pay your bills, live like a queen, in her case, a queen, right? So we got to stop and think about this. I mean, I'm not especially fond of the idea of living in Colombia, but if someone said, hey, Kev, you're going to get $75 an hour to be the big mouth of the country. Yeah, see ya. I'm gone. Yeah, I probably wouldn't even like it. I know that I don't like Colombia because I've been there before. I don't like Bogota, for example, but I'd go, you know, hang out, make some money, catch up on bills, do whatever it takes. You cannot put your life on hold because you think you don't like a place. And the funny part is she's never even been to the United States. So how do you know you don't like it? Right? There you go, guys. So anyway, if anyone does work for any hospital in the country and you speak perfect English and you were born here, get out, man. Go to the USA. They will pay you what you're worth. Trust me, they will.
No, don't get out. Stay here. I'm getting older. I might need medical assistance. Stay here, please.
All right. Why don't you learn first aid and take care of yourself? How's that sound? I learned how to put a Band-Aid on the other day. So yeah, I got boo-boo and I put a Band-Aid on. I'm fine.
You know what? It's amazing how you remember mouth-to-mouth resuscitation when someone's dying in the bush.
Oh?
Yeah, that happened to me about 30 years ago. And Cub Scout, Boy Scouts, and Rovers. Yeah, they taught us first aid. We took 3 courses with those guys. So
Yeah,
it's well worth,
I was certified for a while, and then I found out that if you are certified in first aid and you don't perform it when the opportunity arises, you can actually do prison time. So I said, no, I'm going to let my certification go. Yeah, forget it. Yeah,
seriously.
yeah, that's the way that was told to me. So when I read that, I just said, fine, you know what? I'm going to let this lapse. I will never take a job where I need to have first aid. Period. Because I'm not going to go through that nonsense. I mean, if you're trained in first aid and you really are doing your best to help someone who's choking or just in general not breathing, or someone who's in the midst of a stroke, or someone that you have to give CPR to because their heart stopped. If you have to do this and you know how to do it and you try your very best and the person still dies, why are you liable? So I'm thinking, you know what? Why bother? No, I let it go. And that's why this country is falling apart, because the liability is always on the person doing the right thing. Always. Someone breaks into your house and you stab them, you go to jail for attempted murder, assault with a weapon, assault causing bodily harm, blah, blah, blah. It just goes on. This country is absolutely ridiculous. So when you do the right thing, you get penalized.
You know what's not ridiculous? Last night there was a meeting at the York Region Catholic District School Board.
Go on.
And there were students there that represent the student body. They were pushing all this diversity, inclusion, all this World Economic Forum, globalist wokeism crap, along with about 3 or 4 counselors who are also speaking on behalf of the woke. So anyways, they're voting on whether or not they're going to fly the pride flag or the progressive, which basically means communist, pride flag at York Region Catholic Schools out on the flagpoles.
And?
6-4, it got defeated.
Oh, thank God. Because we do not need that hate symbol flying on any flagpole anywhere in this country anymore. It used to be something that was fun. It's not fun anymore. It's a symbol of intolerance and hatred and vitriol and nastiness and everything that's wrong with our species. It really is. It's a horrible flag. Well, because of what it represents now.
Students are starting to push back now. I don't know if you've seen or not, but in Quebec, apparently the students tore the pride flag down and they trampled it. So they're starting to get some pushback. The kids are finally starting to wake up.
Good. I'm always happy when kids realize that they're being lied to. And if you are a high school student currently, you are being lied to. There's nothing that they're teaching you that's of any value to you whatsoever. Ed, let's just, the 3 of us here, let's just brainstorm on what we think is important. Okay. Writing a resume is important. They don't teach that in school. How to shake hands, look the person in the eye, smile, introduce yourself with your name, and sell it that you're a confident person. Not taught to us in school. Go ahead, Ed. You got one.
Actually, yeah, just going. You go cheers in some European countries, and you don't look the person in the eye. That's an insult. And more often than not, you're going to get the shit kicked out of you.
Well, culture. So they don't teach us culture. Okay, kids, here's an important one. How do you get a mortgage? Like, what is a mortgage? Do you guys know what a mortgage is? And how do you get one? Now, how do you negotiate with bank managers, especially now? Because almost nobody that works for Canadian banks speaks English anymore. It's brutal. They're all foreigners, and English is either their second or their third language. How do you negotiate with that? I mean, today, as an example, I negotiated for a free parking space on behalf of a friend of mine downtown Calgary. Had a little chit chat with a security guard, a couple jokes, a couple of vulgar phrases and so on. Boom, free parking spot, save $20. How do you do that? They don't teach you any of this stuff. They don't teach you how to negotiate for a job, negotiate for a lover, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, negotiate with your parents to get an extra hour of TV time, negotiate with anyone. They just don't teach you any of this stuff at all. So let's talk about maybe fractions for a second here. I remember when they taught us fractions. So what's the answer, everybody? 1/5 times 7/19. You know, my answer is who cares? Who cares? Because the only time I ever used fractions or long division after I left high school was when I had kids of my own and I had to show them how to do it. And I forgot. So I had to go to YouTube. There's a channel of this guy called Numberphile. He's fantastic with math. I had to relearn that stupid garbage to show my kids that stupid garbage. And then my son asks me, well, Dad, when am I ever going to use this
because I am a proponent of math.
Yeah. Well, I love math, but I prefer finance, like financial math. They were not teaching us stuff that was important, Ed. Now, you are a pilot. Mathematics is what you and that particular career choice are all about. And of course, you're also a contractor. So when you're building something, you are using math. However, the mathematics that you're using has nothing to do with fractions, has nothing to do with long division. You're using, what are you using? Trigonometry. And you're just using the measuring stick. When you're building a house, the studs got to be what? 12, 18, or 24 inches apart. So you're going to use a tape measure. I know you know how to count to 18, and you're going to mark it off and put that stud up. That's
actually,
not fractions.
It's 16, 19.5, or 24 inches.
Would you look at that? You see, I'm glad you're here because I'm not a contractor.
But anyways, math, kids, learn your math. It's so important.
Sure,
and
it is.
No, you gotta have it.
How about math? But Ed, how about math that's important, like trajectories or statics? Stuff that shows you how to build a bridge and have it not collapse. That's important.
Well, that's when you need your algebra and all the other advanced mathematics. Like, you can never have enough math knowledge. I don't care what anyone says.
No, I agree with that. It's a subject that I had no interest in whatsoever, mainly because it wasn't creative enough and it wasn't fun enough. But I'm certainly glad that I know how to use a calculator. I can say that.
Now, had you gotten a job as a machinist or a mold maker or a tool maker, you'd be so screwed. You wouldn't be able to do anything.
I don't think I would have gotten a job as a rocket engineer either for NASA. So, I mean, or an astronaut, probably not.
Yeah, but you see, they're talking about taking math out of school, not teaching it. And now you know why they don't teach anything to do with mortgages, because it just won't matter.
Well, seemingly kids in Canada are never going to be able to afford a place. And this is the type of thing that we certainly would like to have, is that kids know what a mortgage is, how to get one, and then actually be able to do so. And remember when Mike Martins was on the show the last time, everyone? He was showing us houses that had 6 and 7 bedrooms, and they were what, $60,000, $70,000 in the USA? Yeah, scary.
Actually, you want to bring in April and she can verify this for us?
April LaJune, everybody, our American friend here. Thank you, April, for being here. Your microphone is off.
Yes, it is.
You're muted, April.
There we go.
Oh, how are you guys today?
We are doing well. We're always happy to see you.
I can't stand math.
Okay, so quick commentary here on American prices. Remember we talked about, I mentioned here, I helped a friend of mine get a garage built here in Calgary for $51,000, a 2-car garage, 51 grand. And you said the same garage would be 16,000 in Kansas.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I know what it costs to build stuff, and I can't imagine that. That would be a whole house.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're building, now that's just materials, of course. That's not labor, but it shouldn't take very long to put up a garage. Come on. It's ridiculous.
No, it took the team 3 days.
Yeah, that'd be about, I was thinking a weekend, so that's the same. Yeah.
But hang on a second. Did you have footings in your garage?
Well, you got it. If it's already, you got to do the fittings. You got to do the fittings.
Well, some people build slab on grade. It's cheaper that way, or they put in a grade beam.
This was a slab with 6-inch suspension walls, or not. What do you call them?
Stud walls.
Huh?
Stud walls.
Stud walls. No, that's not the term they used. They use a different term, but it holds the studs. Yes. So concrete pad, 4 inches thick, and then 6 to 8 inches of height on the concrete wall. So it's like a swimming pool with only 3 sides. And they built the rest of it on top. And they were done in 3 days. So 51K.
So it's formed with a knee wall.
Ed, I'm getting horrible echo off your microphone. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if it might be coming from April because it was fine before she jumped in.
Oh,
What?
April screwed everything up, did she?
Yeah, April, mute if you're not talking.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, what were you saying?
What I said is it should take 1 day for the concrete. I would think just one.
Oh, that's all it took.
Yeah.
They cleared everything and poured concrete. It didn't take long. I mean, the whole thing was done fast. And these guys, they poured the concrete in December when it was cold. So you wouldn't have that type of weather. Like you wouldn't have Calgary weather in Kansas. So I imagine it would be an even faster process there. So, like just the difference when April's saying $16,000, $17,000, $18,000 for that same structure. And Mike is saying that houses are literally 1/10 the price that they are in Canada based on where you might be. Really, why would any Canadian want to stick around here? Our kids are never going to be able to buy houses on their own. My kids are in their early 20s now. They'll never be able to buy a house. How do you buy a house for $900,000? Why would you want to buy a house for $900,000?
That is ridiculous. I mean, that is just totally absurd. Okay. So I was going to put a pre-manufactured home behind the one that I already have right now. And just the shell was going to cost, bringing in everything, $17,000. To do the interior would probably be about $20,000. So that's only $37,000. If we did the work ourselves, of course, if we had to put labor on top of it, it'd still only be 50, maybe 60,000 tops. I can't imagine it going over that.
Well, we have a problem in this country, and that is it's all artificial inflation. It's all money laundering. But Mike Martins is going to come back, everybody, to explain this to us. We're going to have him back in 2 weeks to go over property values. So, April, you're in central United States. What the hell is going on in your country? Let's talk about Target first. We got Bud Light dying. Now we got Target dying. Are Americans actually fighting back against this LGBTQ, XY, poo-poo, pee-pee, all that nonsense?
Finally, yes, finally they are. And it's about time. Because you know what? I don't even know if you want to call it a boycott, but whatever. I haven't bought things from these companies for a really long time just because they were never Trumpers. Okay. But now they're going off the deep end on the LGBTQ stuff. And so the people are saying, you know what? I've had it. You're pushing it in my face every time we turn around. And so, you know what? I'm out. It not only has to do with LGBTQ, but it's LGBTQ plus satanic stuff. Okay. Oh, yeah. So they're putting in like symbolism of satanic stuff, and the people are starting to realize it. They're saying, hey, we're not having that. We're not having it. And we're not supporting anybody who's doing that. We're not. So I'm glad that they are starting to realize that all they have to do is not buy their products for 10 days, 15 days, 20 days. They're losing $1 billion a day. That's what Bud Light was losing, $1 billion a day. Now Target's losing $1 billion a day. That tells me one thing. The conservatives have the money, just like I keep saying. The conservatives have the money. The liberals don't have the money. They're standing on the corner with a stupid sign. Okay? We're out there actually doing work and getting money. So,
okay,
yeah.
April, I wanted to ask this one also. We've had one, I'm just going to call her what she is, just like mentally retarded Beetlejuice. All right, whatever the mayor's name was of Chicago. That crazy looking broad with the crazy hair and the crazy eyes and the rotten disposition. Lightfoot, Lori Lightfoot, whatever.
Yeah, Lori Lightfoot.
So she's out, and this new guy's in. He's also black. And he has stated that he's angry with Walmart and Target because he won't let those corporations will not let black people loot. So Walmart has left Portland. Now they're leaving Chicago completely. This new mayor is upset beyond reproach. On his first day as mayor, 12 blacks shoot each other in the streets. What the hell is going on? There you go, liberal tears. What's going on in Chicago? What? Black people were not this crazy in the 80s. They were a lot of fun with all the rapping and the parties and whatnot. Now they're nuts in Democratic cities. In Republican cities, they're great. So please tell us, what is up?
Well, the black people who have common sense don't want to live in a Democratic area. I mean, they just don't, because they know it's not safe. There's no point in it. And it's actually, I really do believe that it's a cultural thing, because I've said this for years. Whitey does not go through their neighborhoods and start shooting them up. Doesn't do it. I've never even heard of a drive-by Whitey shooting in a black neighborhood. Have you?
No, because you know that they would report on that for a year straight if that was the case.
Yeah, and then they'd be coming after you and all kinds of stuff. It'd be ridiculous. So that doesn't happen. It's a cultural thing between their themselves, that they don't want other people to have more than the other. So, and I've asked black people this before, and Hispanics, the same thing. They are not about other people doing better so that they can get ahead. They don't want people to do that. They want them to all be on the same level. So if that means they got to steal your stuff, that's what they're going to do. And because they think for some reason that if you become successful in whatever you're doing, then you're going to get a big head and start, crapping on people, I guess. It's just a cultural thing. And, Democrats, their whole objective is destroying America. Now, the reason I say that is because, and I believe that it's not just Democrats, actually. I think they're facilitated by Republicans. What we no longer have what I call a government. This is not a government. This is a cartel. That's all it is. And so this cartel has taken over everything that is from the small city council to the county commissioners, to the state legislators, to the voting system, the education system, everything all the way up to the federal cartel. And that's all it is. There is nothing different between a cartel that does drugs, does all that stuff, and what we're experiencing right now. It is a cartel.
Okay. Does the average American comprehend this? And will they do anything about it if they do comprehend it?
I think they're starting to get it.
Okay.
I really think they're starting to get it, because people are saying, wait a minute, this is not how the Constitution was set up. You're supposed to have a judicial system that you should be able to take things to court and win constitutionally on an issue. And you can't do that because we have statutes, which are actually policies and rules. They are not constitutional anymore. Okay. So the Constitution doesn't even apply in court unless you force the issue, and you have to force it playing by their rules. And most people don't know how to play by the rules. And I can assure you that an attorney is not going to use the Constitution here in this United States. They don't care. It doesn't make any difference to them.
Can I play a short video?
Yeah.
It's from an American, if I might.
Which one's that one?
I just downloaded it. Watch this.
Hi, it's Luna, activist teacher here, and I just got done reading a book about racism. And did you guys know that going to the bathroom in a toilet and indoor plumbing is actually from white supremacy and colonialism? So when the white colonists saw the indigenous, that they were digging holes and going to the bathroom outside, they said that that was more like animals, and the white colonists decided to have indoor plumbing and toilets to use the bathroom. And so I just want you to recognize that whenever you are using a toilet, you're basically paying homage to white supremacy and white colonists. There's a reason why the color of toilets are white.
Okay. First off, the color of toilets are white because porcelain is white naturally. It's more expensive to make toilets different colors. I've seen rich people that have black toilets. You can see every streak of pee-pee and every little chunk of everything all over it. Okay. It's kind of like a black car versus a white car where you can see every speck of dust on it. So toilets are better white because they look cleaner. Next, plumbing. All right, what an idiot. What an absolute ass. Okay, plumbing. If anybody goes to Hamilton, Ontario, there's a beautiful place called Dundurn Castle. Now we're talking, it's not a castle really, it's just a mansion from the 1800s. And one of the proudest things of this house is that it had one flush toilet in the house. That's it. And it had a pipe that just dumped whatever was in that toilet into Lake Ontario. One. Okay, this place has got what, 20 bedrooms in it, and everybody else used chamber pots. Chamber pots were still around in the 1900s in Canada and the United States. You stupid idiot, you ass. You are a fool. So I guess then, what do we do here? What do black people and brown people defecate in now? April, what should they crap in? Go ahead.
Hang on. What's the date of the colonialists? So when did they come to America and Canada? What year?
She doesn't know.
Yeah, she doesn't know. But see, here's the thing. Now, I mean, you could actually say that she's kind of right in a way, because if it wasn't for white people, there would be not there. Where would the civilization be? I mean, really.
Well,
I mean,
white Romans did the same thing with plumbing. They absolutely did.
Guess who actually said that? That was Ben Carson. Ben Carson said if it wasn't for white people, then the civilization wouldn't have even happened. So if she wants to talk about white colonialism, yeah, okay. So what are you saying? You want to take a dump in a hole? Go ahead. Because I would rather say that white colonialism gave me a toilet. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I really like that. Thank you. I like the fact that I have a refrigerator and some electricity. And, you know, I have all of these modern conveniences because of white civilization. I mean, I'm kind of going, are you seriously kidding me right now? I mean, I bet you after she took off her mask, she went over to her bathroom, took a dump in the toilet, and washed her face in that sink. That was probably white.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Also, sorry, hold on. I have to address this one. Yeah, the Romans had plumbing 2,000 years ago. I don't know about the first indoor toilet in Dublin. Could be true, could be not. I don't care who had the first toilet. I'm glad I have one to go dump in. That's a very, and when I was a kid, I appreciated it even more because that was the quiet time I had to read Mad Magazine, right? Because my old man didn't like me reading Mad Magazine in the bathroom. There's no way he was coming in there. All right. But the Romans had plumbing. We know that. And also the Chinese, if everyone remembers Rick Heisman, the American journalist I went to Myanmar with, he was talking about having been in central China in 1990, and they didn't have toilets. What they had was the honey wagon, they call it, which was this wagon that was pulled by a horse. It had 20 seats on it, which when I say seat, I mean bench with holes. And you would literally sit in the middle of town facing the town hall and crapping out in the open where everyone could see you. And because he's the only white guy in town, everybody watched the white guy take a dump. Right. And that's 1990. That's come on. So
look at India.
Maybe you should go to China.
India doesn't have plumbing like it should. I mean, they don't. They have a hole in the ground. Yeah. Some of them have a hole in the ground. Some of them just take a dump out in the field. They still do that today.
Yeah. Right yeah. If you wanted to see that type of thing in action, you could go to Brampton, Ontario. They do that there quite a bit. I'm not.
Yeah. San Francisco. Yeah. Same thing.
San Francisco. Yeah. We got that kind of problem. So by all means, this individual, you got Ed, privately email me who she is. I got to find out more about this idiot. There's like 10 hours of stand-up comedy there. It truly is.
I only got one question, and it's, did she tear out her plumbing in her toilet, and does she go outside to hang a dump now? Like, crazy.
Exactly.
Well, Kevin, this ties in perfectly with who votes NDP. There you go. And these people are teaching other kids? Oh,
yeah.
boy.
Oh, yeah, she's a teacher.
Ridiculous. It's totally
Oh
ridiculous.
yeah, hold on. John brings up a good one here. Remember the toilet jihadists? Yeah, this is something that takes place in Bangladesh, very heavily in Bangladesh, because the Prophet Muhammad did not crap in a toilet because he crapped wherever he wanted. You have to do it the same way that the Prophet Muhammad did. So there are plenty of videos, and we actually played them on my old BitChute channel. They're probably still there. Everybody, just look up toilet jihad, where these ridiculous radical Islamists walk into your house and break your toilet, and they tell you you cannot have one. Period. Yeah, tell me about it. It's just what's the matter with everybody? Why do body functions matter to so many people around the world?
Well,
I don't get it.
They
Like-
only seem to matter to liberals.
It does. It's weird. This is, you know, when I was 16, all right, the size of my stool mattered. I had a Polaroid just in case. Like, you know, you had to buy film, and I wouldn't waste a shot on one that wasn't big enough, just to show off your, just to be gross as a teenager. And then I had a select age. You know, I said, who cares? I'm done, flush, and I'm out the door. So this individual here is now making everyone think twice about stuff that we get rid of. We don't want anymore. So, April.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing with the shower and all that other stuff. Are they saying they're not going to take a shower now? I mean, please, come on. And some of them aren't. You know that, right?
Yeah. No, tell me about it. So I know this conversation's degraded somewhat, but that video, Ed, I guess thank you for showing us this, because now we have a real sense of just how far everybody wants to go to race bait. That video is all about race baiting. She's somebody that wants something for nothing. That's what it boils down to. And if all of you remember Jay Feza, he was the black guy that was working for Rebel News for a while. He and I did a really good video in a van where we're just talking about this, about Black Lives Matter and chicks that talk like the one that just talked there. And it's all about lazy black who don't want to work and they want something for free. And they guilt white people into giving them free stuff. And I don't feel guilty about anything. I've never been a slave, and I never will.
Actually, that's interesting. That's interesting, Kevin, because last night at that school board meeting, they're also looking at demographics and how well certain colors or ethnicities are doing intellectually in school and who's getting into the gifted program. Guess what? They singled out black males as none of them being able to get into the gifted programs, or very, very few. And nobody addressed the issue of culture. Just like nobody addressed the issue of this progressive pride flag being part of the Communist Manifesto.
Correct.
They're missing the key points at these meetings. But the motion was defeated, so no pride flag being flown at Catholic high schools in the New York region. But the key points were not driven home. This is communist infiltration. It's part of the Communist Manifesto, and that should be raising alarm bells for everyone. Now, for those people that did call their people on the school board and actually put some pressure on them to get this thing voted down, good on you guys. That's what it takes. Everyone's got to do something. Thank you.
Well, before Edward here interrupted me about math, what I was trying to make a point here, kids, is that you're not being taught anything of value in the schools. So give your teachers a difficult time, put pressure on them to teach you real stuff. Don't let up. If they start talking about this radical LGBTQ crap, or they want to talk about race theory and be pigs about it, if they want to talk about sex in reference to anything other than the raw facts of sex, if they want to start telling you that you're a boy if you're a girl and vice versa, no. Put pressure on them, something fierce. Don't let up. Keep fighting back. You don't need this headache. You need an education. You need to know what's going on in the world. You need to know how to leave that childish playpen known as high school, because it is a childish place. It sucks to get into the real world with at least a couple of skills to get yourself by. By the way, Mike in the night, Mike, I sent you a link. So come on in, buddy. If you got something to say, we obviously want to hear it. Edward, you're up.
One more quick point. Sorry, April. In honor of Pride Month, which is coming up in June, anyone that's, if there's any kids out there or parents that are out there, and they got kids that are going to Catholic high school, ask your children to mention the fact what's the connection between Sodom and Gomorrah, story in the Bible, and how does it reflect on Pride Month, part of religious studies. Bring that question to the teachers. Let's see what they come up with. You know what Sodom and Gomorrah is all about.
And I'm not going to repeat that story here because it is gross. It's a gross story. Okay, April. This is Mike. April. Mike in the night from Merritt, British Columbia. You're here. You have something to say. I hope it's not about toilets. I want to walk away from that subject.
No. I just want to talk about, and we talked about this multiple times on the channel. At the end of the European expansion in the West is happening. They've brought us here to build the infrastructure, and now they're showing us the door. And I could prove it. If you look back in 2007, 2006, 7, and 8, they deported scores of Portuguese from Canada that were legally here, but they just didn't want them in Canada anymore. Now, hold on a second. It's not only that, is that in 1993, Canada closed immigration to Europeans, said we don't need the European anymore. And what else? It's been happening for a while now that they want to phase out the European expansion, period. They feel that the infrastructure has gotten and developed to a certain point that we are not needed anymore. But the problem is, who's going to maintain the infrastructure? When the Portuguese left Portuguese Africa in the 1970s, all those countries went into complete disarray and in shambles because the Portuguese weren't there to maintain the infrastructure. And I believe that we're going to start to see more and more broken roads, more and more poor facilitated water distribution plants, electrical plants, and governments will come in and start federalizing everything, and things will go downhill from there.
Well, Mike, I agree with that. As April had suggested earlier in the show, white countries are essentially where it's at. White countries are the ones that were the most civilized, and everybody wanted to have a piece of them. And yes, you are correct, because I have studied Africa quite a bit. And that is, as soon as African tribesmen built themselves up and kicked whites out, those countries are done. Now, as an example, the city of Bloemfontein, which is one of 3 capital cities of South Africa, they had the banks and the hotels had millions of dollars worth of marble in the lobbies. Now, every single window in every single building in Bloemfontein has been shattered, and the tribesmen down there are allowing goats and cows to graze inside of the banks. The marble's been chipped away and broken, but they don't do anything with it when it's been broken. They just destroy. And then you've got this crazy black whatever he is, this leader, prime minister, president, and so on, where he says, hey, if you want a white person's farm, just take it. So the blacks are stealing farms, but they don't know how to farm. So they don't grow anything within a year. Those particular crops that were planted, they succeed, and then everything else beyond that fails.
Right.
So, Mike, what do we do?
Well, there's nothing we could really do, because the people that are being put in control are actually ushering this forward, and blame Whitey or blame the white man or blame the European expansionist, right? And what could we do? What could we honestly do? We could carve out a piece of land somewhere in the world and say, this is for us, or it's for people that are like-minded that want to develop and move forward and educate properly and actually trust the real science and do it by the, but then we will just get invaded and peace will be brought to us, right? So there's really no way. The only way, it's beyond me now what to do, because that's where we're at right now, peacefully to be done. And no, there was a lot of good things going down in Africa, and a lot of people didn't see. I was supposed to be born in Angola, but then Cuba invaded Angola. Cuba, look it up. Cuba invaded Angola, and that was a big problem because we had a very good setup down in Africa for the Portuguese, and they destabilized all these countries. All our countries became destabilized, not by the Portuguese, not by the blacks living there, but by the British, the Dutch, and the French came around and shut us down, because we were the original BRICS nations. We had East Timor, we had Mozambique for the natural gas, we had the oil in East Timor, which Australia was funding Indonesia with weapons to murder the Catholics in East Timor. You can look it up, the East Timor genocide. Same thing in Angola. A lot of things happening. Same thing with Brazil. Same thing with all the islands. We were destabilized and deplatformed, even though the people of that country said, we don't want the Portuguese to leave. East Timor on record 11 times asking Portugal to come back and recolonize, because they don't want to deal with this problem. So there is a lot of good colonialism out there that was free trade. The Spanish went around the world with guns blazing, determined to show who's boss. The English went around spreading class and the law and the balance of justice, or whatever you want to call it. The English brought class and other stuff too. And the Portuguese were fair trade, and every culture has a history that backs them up, right? And we only see the English, or now we're seeing, I guess, English bad history, or the you know what I mean? The Norsemen were bad, and it's like without building that history, or without that history, without this ushering in forward, we wouldn't be in this, nice, decent highway system, nice, decent accommodations we live in today, if it wasn't for that.
So, Mike, everybody wants to know, as do I, did you guys bring white toilets with you when you colonized?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know if we brought toilets over. I know we did have a sanitation system in Lisbon going back to the early 16 or 1500s that was updated, that was left by the Romans. And we just updated it in the 1600s, 1700s. I don't know more about after that, but yeah.
So let's blame the Romans on this white supremacy stuff then.
Absolutely.
Damn you with your sanitation. Damn you with your sanitation. You know what? Without sanitation, a lot of people say modern medicine is why we've lived so long. No, bullshit. We've lived long because of sanitation.
That's right. Actually, Mike, have a look, everybody. If you look at the entire list of all the kings of England, you'll see that the reasons they died, it's actually hilarious. You look at them. Dysentery, gout, dysentery. Dysentery comes from food that touches poo-poo, and then you eat it. So when your poo-poo goes down, like below your house, and then out and away and gets torched or treated, you don't eat it. All right. And then you don't get sick. There you go. Perfect.
Good one. Good comeback, Kevin.
There you go. Mike, thanks for being here, pal. How do people find you?
Just I'm on Rumble, just realmikemartins.com.
Realmikemartins.com. Brother, we'll see you soon.
See you, brother. Bye. Bye.
That's Mike in the Night. Everyone who's got his own podcast every Saturday night, you got to check him out. Clever guy. Mike, everything he predicts comes true. It's incredible, this guy. He's like the National Enquirer predictions, except they're all correct. All right, so there we go. April, we understand now that this Kerry idiot, so John Kerry, wants to, he wants to take over all farmland in the United States of America to meet climate goals of 2030. Okay, how are Americans reacting to this? Go ahead.
Well, I think Americans don't think it's actually going to happen, but the problem is Bill Gates is the largest landowner in the United States of America. And I don't think they're understanding that, for example, Missouri has a legislation that says that China can't own land in Missouri. Okay. Well, you really think that that's not going to happen just because they said China can't own land. Okay. So they'll just get somebody else to do it. Sure. They can pass all laws they want to. It doesn't make any difference. I heard them. I have to say, I don't think that the Americans are alarmed enough.
Here,
I don't think they are.
So what's happened is the only way they can do it is they have to expropriate it all. They have to buy it all. But
we're also contaminating the food.
Yeah, and in the Netherlands, they've actually went and done this. The government went and bought out all the farms. So that big fight that was going on there with the farmers, it's done. It's over. They purchased all these.
There's a big difference between there and here.
Yeah.
We have called the Second Amendment, and they're a little scared of that.
Yeah,
okay?
exactly.
So that's the only thing that's holding them back right now is the Second Amendment. That's it, because that's the only thing that really scares them. Because we have now 400 million guns, in the hands of people, in just regular people in the United States of America. 400 million. Okay. So that's not going to be taken down easily. So they can't just come in and start mowing everybody's property down and that kind of stuff. They're making it very difficult for people to, how shall I say, buy, sell, all that kind of thing, because still people are indoctrinated with this thing that you have to follow their statutes, rules, and policies. And they're so reliant on subsidies from the government and, all these government contracts and all that stuff, that it's government welfare. And they're so indoctrinated into having it, they can't even imagine not having it. So when they can't imagine not having it, they don't understand that there was a way of life before the government came in and started giving handouts to everybody.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah. And so that's the hard thing for them to actually comprehend in their head, that you don't need federal government to do squat for you, because they really don't do anything anyway. You really don't need state to do anything for you either, because the money that we get from the state or from the feds is not enough to actually make as much of a difference as the politicians try to make it out to be. So if people started doing local things and bought local meat, bought local vegetables, bought local everything, because I can go out here and I can buy local everything. I don't really need to do anything other than where I'm at. I don't need the federal government to tell them what to do. And if I get bad meat from someone, I should certainly have been educated enough to figure that out just by the smell alone. So, I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, we have dumbed down Americans so much that they can't understand that they can get by without all that, whether it's a farmer, whether it's a mechanic, whatever.
Okay, guys, hang on. Sorry, Kevin. I got to interrupt. I know you hate math, but we're going to use a little bit of math in this video. I'm going to share the screen. When I play this video, it's only 2 minutes. This is what the carbon scandal is all about. And Stefanos, I'm sure you're going to chime in after this. Here it comes. You ready?
Go.
Oh, man, I can't find that. Where's the page?
Bottom left corner. No? Yes? No?
Oh, here it is. Okay, got it.
Those are quadrifocals.
Every single thing that happens today is climate change. Kids in schools are being brainwashed. Parents don't seem willing to strike back. Universities fill the heads of their students with global warming rubbish. This stuff is damaging, it's dangerous, and it's everywhere. We're in a cultural war. Climate change is the new religion. None of these people, not one, can define climate change other than to talk about carbon emissions. They're not carbon emissions at all. Carbon's a chemical element. It exists in things like diamonds and graphite. Carbon is in carbon dioxide, so they mean carbon dioxide emissions. And the burning of coal releases carbon dioxide. So I might add to the bushfires. So they must mean that carbon dioxide's a problem. And the world as we know it will end if we don't do something about it. Hang on. Carbon dioxide is 0.04% of the atmosphere. That is over the whole world. Human beings create only 3% of that 0.04% over the whole world. And Australia, human beings, manufacturers, cows breaking wind, bushfires are responsible for 1.3% of the 3% of the 0.04%. Is anyone seriously suggesting that we should stand the economy on its head, force up energy prices, damage business, jeopardize employment because 0.04% of the atmosphere is carbon dioxide and coal produces carbon dioxide? If we genuinely want to fight for the future of our kids, we're going to have to fight against this intellectual rubbish. And it appears that only a few of us are prepared to step into the ring.
First off, he's correct. This stems from, well, it stems from all things stupid. It backs up what I was saying in the Instagram video that I did. Calgary was full of smoke last week. I walked around central, downtown, and eastern Calgary, just taking photographs of the smoke. And I told you all, the smoke is full of carbon, the rain will push it down, and everything will flourish. And right now, the grass in Calgary is greener than it was last year at the same time because of all that smoke. So give us smoke from a campfire any day of the week, man. Any freaking day. Ed, you have something to add on that?
Yeah, and I just forgot what I was going to say. Damn it!
Mathematics.
I know what I
Brought
was
that up.
going to say. I was going to say I'm going to contribute to that carbon emission.
Tim Ball, let him
There you
have
go.
it.
Stefanos is doing his part to put more carbon in the atmosphere. There you go.
So Tim Ball, he sat there and he won both court cases. Climate change is a big falsehood. There's no such thing. There's no evidence. There's no scientific evidence. There's no scientific data. There's only the natural cycle of climate change. It's been around forever and it's unchanged. It's got a set pattern, a set cycle it follows. Now, here's one for you since you mentioned about the fires in Calgary or Alberta there. So we know that was arson that started those off. What was it? 99 fires all simultaneously lit. You know, that's not from climate, but of course that's the narrative they're going to push. Last week, I think it was the stupid weather network, the other controlled garbage. They started saying, oh, high probability for forest fires in Ontario. And of course, they highlighted the areas that's most dangerous, that are most likely to happen. And what do you have? We got a bunch of fires in northern Ontario suddenly broke out. So imagine that. And of course, they're going to call it climate change. Just BS.
Do you guys know what happens to the soil when a tree burns down?
It gets recharged,
Yes.
supercharged.
Supercharged. You know why?
Carbon.
That's only part of it.
Well, there's
You got all
nitrates.
these trace minerals coming that the roots pull out of the ground.
Yeah.
Like your phosphorus, your nitrogen,
Yeah.
all these nutrients, micronutrients. The roots pull all this up out of the ground and it goes into the tree. And then the tree burns. It's all spread out wherever the tree leaves its ashes. And it actually changes the pH. So some plants will actually do better because the pH has changed in the woods. That's how you get open fields as opposed to bush.
Well, the other thing around here is, and they do it all over the United States, is a lot of times farmers to enrich their soil, they will go through and they will do a burning over the field, and then they will go back and plow it into the soil, and it gives nutrients back into the soil. And they do that all the time. I mean, they just got through doing that around here. So these people are nut jobs.
Canada made laws you can't do that, you know. You're not allowed.
They do it over here all the time.
We used to do it when I was little. I remember always doing that. We'd burn the fields all the time. And now, nothing. And now this is why we have all these ticks and everything else that have come out, because we stopped burning all the fields.
Yeah, actually, you know, Stefanos, it's an interesting point about ticks and Lyme disease that it actually is a result of not burning the fields. But there's something else to factor in, is that Alberta is the one place in the world that doesn't have rats. Rats don't live in Alberta. However, when you're not allowed, okay, relax. Dude. That's the official. Okay, we know there's going to be some somewhere. I've seen mice here. What I'm getting at, though, is if you're not able to burn the soil, that means you're not killing rat babies with it. And those rats will start to thrive, which they will. I'm sure it's going to happen soon. You have to go through the natural cycle. And if you're going to be farming, you do have to torch everything. The Romans did it. The Babylonians did it. Worked for them. Hell, even the Persians did it. In between their orgies, they did it. So we got to start doing it too. We truly do.
All this stuff is about control.
They never had Antifa problems, did they, when they were doing these burns, did they?
No.
No, they didn't, because if someone like Antifa was to exist in Roman times, the Romans would just execute them.
Look, just a point to clarity here. All the rats in Alberta are in the municipal buildings and all those government buildings.
Exactly. There's an interesting comment, though, here. It says, also, I'm hearing a lot of these wildfires in NS, which I don't know what that is, Nova Scotia?
Nova Scotia.
Alberta. Okay. NB. What's that?
New Brunswick.
Okay. Could potentially be from chemtrails. Thoughts? I do have thoughts on that.
Go ahead.
Do you want me to tell you what the thoughts
Let's hear your thoughts. That's why we're here.
Okay.
Uh-oh. She said chemtrails and she froze.
Am
Okay,
I
you're
frozen
back,
now?
April.
There we go.
You're good.
All right. They were having these wildfires, and what happens is the chemtrails go over and they put chemicals on the.
That's crazy. Like you said, chemtrails, and we can't hear you now. I swear they're blocking us.
I didn't say that. I didn't even say that word. Okay, so it puts stuff on the foliage and the plants and all that kind of thing. Then they come along with a DEW weapon, which is a direct energy weapon, kind of like a microwave. And that can be from farther away. It doesn't have to be right in that area. And they light the fire with the microwave. And that's how come all these wildfires happen all at the same time. And they did that in California, where the big wildfire was going. They had like 4 or 5 fires that just like all at the same time. And so the people found out that it was a DEW weapon. And the reason that you can figure that out is if you go back and you look at the pictures of the destruction.
Uh-oh.
FBI is not too happy with her.
That is frightening.
CIA.
Just like that. She gets kicked off talking about direct energy weapons. And look, we know that direct energy weapons are a thing. I mean, we saw that with the new direct energy weapons that the Americans have to break up crowds, where they shoot microwaves through the air from a mile away, burns your skin, you run away. April, please continue. Go ahead.
Okay, so porcelain burns. You have to have a forest fire cannot burn porcelain. Okay, it's not going to happen. But if you get something that has a chemical on it, then it will make the fire hotter and porcelain will melt. That's how we knew that it was not a regular forest fire, just setting the forest on fire and all of a sudden, like some regular wildfire. It was actually set on fire by the C word and the DEW weapon pointed at it, and all these fires happen at the same time. Underneath those fires, that place where that burnt is a bunch of gold mines, gold claims. So they had to get the people out of there, because what's happening over here is, I call them the cartel. The federal cartel needed to have that. They want to have the gold because they're taking it all away from the people. They don't want the people to have it. So they burned the area so they could get the gold. That's what's happening here.
Paradise, California.
Yes, that is exactly where.
Is there gold mines under Paradise? I thought they torched those houses to get a railway line in.
That too, but it was mainly the gold. There were 2 things happening at the same time. It was Dianne Feinstein's husband trying to do the rail, and also the fact that they were sitting on a bunch of gold.
Wow.
Is BLM involved in that? Not Black Lives Matter either.
No, I know what you mean, the Bureau of Land Management. Of course they are. They're all. It is a cartel. It is not a government. It is all a cartel. So,
yeah, that was behind the Bundy stuff too, but that was for uranium. So yeah.
Yes, it's all connected. Every single thing is connected, because they knew they were going to do this stuff, and that's why they've been planning this all along, to get us to the point where we have nothing. They'll take all our money, and now they're going to go after all of our stuff too.
And I'm glad, April, you said money, because we got the next mayor of Toronto, Chris Sky, is coming on shortly in about 8 minutes. Money. Ed and I had a conversation together. Oh, and by the way, people, this doesn't mean anything, okay? I know some of you say Kevin is making Illuminati symbols. I lean on my fingers like this sometimes. Knock it off, okay? Like, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. This doesn't mean anything. Good. No. Okay? Exactly. It's foolish. So, no, I am not a member of anything. Okay. So, April, Ed was bringing up this point here. We know that the American and the Canadian governments and the Brits and the Australians and so on want to bring in a centralized digital currency that they control. However, we're also learning that there's going to be a couple of states possibly bringing in their own cash. Now, is there any truth to that?
Oh, yeah, there already are. There's 11 states that already have gold backs. And I've already changed some of my money into gold. And we were hoping that Missouri would be the 12th state, but we have a state cartel that are stupid. And well, they actually think we're stupid, and they won't do it. So what's interesting about that is the gold backs you can actually buy from like New Hampshire, Montana, Wyoming, just all these other places. And you can have those gold backs in your possession if you want, or we have a private bank that is where you deposit your gold. There's a Visa card that goes with it, and so you can still access your gold. So like if I want to go to Walmart and I only have gold, I could actually go to Walmart with my Visa card, and it will subtract the gold. They'll subtract the amount in fiat cash, which is zero, basically nothing.
Right.
It will subtract that from my gold. So I have a gold deposit, and then I can use it. Even though my gold is in Utah, I can still use it wherever I want.
So which states are we need to know?
Well, I know it's New Hampshire, Wyoming. I believe it's Nevada. I want to say Louisiana, but I'm not sure. But anyway, there's like 11 of them now. And Missouri was going to be 12. So, yeah.
You said New Hampshire?
Yes, I know. Can you even believe it? New Hampshire.
The loony left capital of the United States, isn't it?
I know, but they wanted gold backs, and they got them. And stores will take the gold back. They will take the gold back. So if you've got gold backs and you want to go to the stores to trade, you trade your gold for stuff. There's a calculator that you have. It's super simple, and you can calculate how many gold backs to fiat cash it is, and buy your thing, whatever it is you want.
Wow. Okay.
Too.
So this is good to know, because when the U.S. dollar fails, with the Biden administration continuing to do what they do, and with BRICS continuing to boost what they're doing, I think that a couple of states could do quite well in the international market with their own currencies. I certainly wouldn't mind holding some of that myself.
Exactly. Period. I mean, the gold back actually has gold in the thing, so you can get a denomination of a 1, a 5. I think a 10, a 20, and a 50, and 100. And that is like 1/10 of a gold ounce. You know what I mean? Or 1/100th of a gold ounce, or whatever denomination it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got to buy the different denominations if you want to.
Okay. Well, that is good to know. That is some real hope for Republican states, except like, oh man. Whew.
Well, they're going to, with FedNow, what they're going to be doing here pretty quickly is they're going to be doing the social credit score, but they're doing it with businesses right now, and they're going to start doing it with individuals pretty soon. And that means like mine is already negative $1 million. So I'll never be able to use my bank account ever or buy anything. So it's good for me to be able to do that and put my stuff in gold, because they can't deny me from the private bank.
Well, that's good, because if it was going to be counting on debt and whatnot, I mean, I think we all know with all the ridiculous and illegal and improper lawsuits filed against me, I'm $11.75 million in the hole, and they keep piling it on. So what do you do?
Well, actually, Kevin, you're a national treasure if you think about it, because our economic system is based on debt.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So
You're a huge contributor to the national economy.
I just need to know how to leverage that debt to put it into my own advantage here. It's amazing that all these government individuals, they keep suing me. I can't afford a lawyer, and the judges don't listen to a word I have to say, and I lose. So and the thing is, they know, my opponents, my enemies, whatever you want to call them, they know that I've got about $3.85 in the bank after I've paid all these ridiculous legal fees, but they keep suing me. They just keep going. And they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to drag me through the courts.
Well, we were just talking about this today here, and every country now is a cartel. It is not what you think it is, and that's bad. And until the people start realizing that, I mean, all you got to do is watch. Have you guys watched the series Ozark?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, it's about money laundering, really, for the cartel. And you watch that, and you watch Breaking Bad, and you go, yep, that's our government right there. I mean, between Ozark and the money laundering and Breaking Bad, that is the government.
And everyone tells me I should watch Breaking Bad. I never have. Not a single episode.
Oh, my gosh, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it probably is. I gave up on cable television about 15 years ago, and I know that there's Netflix and Dickflix and all the other stupid things that are out there. I just don't feel like dumping money into all that stuff just so I can sit on my ass and rot my brain. But since you've recommended Ozark, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm sure I can find it somewhere for free online.
The thing is about some of these shows that I've realized is they have to tell you what they're going to do before they do it. And they're doing it in the form of entertainment. And so if you're paying attention and you know what's going on, you can see exactly what they're doing and exactly how they're going to do it. Because we used to say, oh, that's just a show. Well, it isn't just a show. They're actually telling you the mild version of exactly what they're going to do. Sons of Anarchy is pretty close to reality. It's like the 1/10 of what really happens. The same with Breaking Bad. It's like 1/10 of what really happens. The same with Ozark. 1/10. If you want to know how to money launder, that's exactly what the Democrats are doing right there in Ozark.
How about what's that? Better Call Saul.
Yeah, same thing. Same thing. It's all the same. They're telling you before they do it, and our consent is by laughing at it and going, that is so funny. I can't believe that people would do that kind of thing. But that's exactly what they're doing. And by our neglect, our not understanding that is actual reality, we're giving our consent for them to do it.
And it all rolls back to the Communist Manifesto. This is all in there, guys.
It is.
And by the way, for those who don't know what the Communist Manifesto is, that was Karl Marx, that maniac who never had a job, never held public office, was never part of any particular committee, was not educated. He was an alcoholic wife beater. He never bought anything for his children. And when the British government figured out that he was writing garbage like what he wrote, they sent spies to go and meet him, and they just wrote that there was so much dust on the furniture in his house that it would ruin your trousers if you sat down. This guy was a complete idiot. He had a friend of his that was quasi-wealthy who funded all these fantasy ideas of his. The Communist Manifesto is about an hour and 15 minutes as an audio book for free on YouTube. I highly recommend you pay attention to it, because after you've listened to all the stupid garbage coming out of his mouth, where it's bad to own a business and it's bad to work for someone who owns that business, just think about what Antifa and Black Lives Matter and Joe Biden and Justin Trudeau are saying right now.
And the NDP and the unions that are with them, which the NDP wrote their own Communist Manifesto.
Is anyone aware of the fact that Karl Marx was related and funded by the Red Shield, which is called the Rothschilds? Relative.
Yeah. Okay. All right, everyone. Here's what I'm going to do for everybody. I found the audiobook version. There we go. There's the link. I know that you can't just click the link when you see it at the bottom of the screen there. But if you're in the chats, I'm going to put it in the chat room right now. Okay, there's the link for the Communist Manifesto. That's for everybody on Rumble. And let me go back to D Live. I'll stick it in the D Live chat as well. Oh, yeah, Twitch. It's in the Twitch chat. And Lord knows wherever else it is. All right, there we go. Okay, guys, so it's in the chat room waiting for you. Please listen to it. It's an hour and a half. Learn something. Find out what a maniac this guy really was, and how maniacal you'd have to be today to be paying attention to it as something that you should be living by. Believe me, nothing Karl Marx said you should be living by. Nothing. There we go.
And don't listen to the crap, especially you young people out there, because I've had a lot of young people during elections come up to me and say, but isn't having a lot of money and being rich communist? They're trying to liken that to being communism. Can you believe that crap?
Well, yeah, it's called doublespeak. It's, less is more is less. Boys are girls are boys, night is day, black is white. 1984 doublespeak was something that he covered quite well. The Ministry of Truth was the lies, the propaganda wing. The Ministry of Love were the sex police. You were not allowed to have sex in that society. Yeah, it's crazy. Speaking of kids, hold on. Is it Hamza? Is that how I say that? Is asking. Also, we have Pride Month starting in a couple of days in almost all schools in Ontario, and municipalities would be waving the Pride flag. I also learned that in some school curriculums, teachers would be teaching about sexual contexts next week. What should the parents do? I'm going full screen for this, man. Shut up, Ed. Get your kids out of every single publicly funded school in Canada and the United States, and do it now. Don't send your kids there. Those are indoctrination centers. They're not learning anything. That is what you do. Then file lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit against the perverts who run those school boards. Believe me when I say this, they are all cowards. All of them are. They'll fold up like a $3 bill because they're as phony as a $3 bill. Let me tell you that. Ed, you probably had something to say on that one. Go ahead. Ed, microphone. Ed. I can't believe we're doing this 3 years later. Ed, microphone.
Hey, where do you think the three Eds comes from? People always say, why Ed?
Ed, shut up and talk. Go.
So, guys, I mute my mic so that there's less background noise, and the audio is cleaner for the show. Yeah, it all goes back to the Communist Manifesto again. Karl Marx. It's the world elite want to control this. They want to have all the money. They want to destroy our economies. They're taxing us like crazy, and that's not doing it quick enough. So they're going to raise our taxes, borrow more money. It's made out of thin air. Which is why I keep saying silver is real money, as is gold. And I'm a big proponent of holding some silver and some gold, because times are tough and they're coming ahead. And right now, even though silver, I think it's around $30 Canadian, it's actually way lower than it should be. So the elitists are putting lots involved, spying up what they can. They're artificially keeping it cheap. There's 100 times more paper silver available or out in circulation, like paper silver contracts, futures contracts, 100 times more than companies like Sprott actually hold. 100 times.
Well, if you all remember, 2 years ago, we did it was a 3 or 4 part series on how money works. We covered that one quite well. You can always find any of my videos, folks, on Rumble. So it's just rumble.com/my name, Kevin J. Johnston. You can go kevinjjohnston.com. That's my BitChute channel. There's 5 years worth of videos there. So have a look. It's all there for you, because I don't really want to explain currency the whole bit. I'm hoping that we have April coming back in. I know that she was having some trouble there. I think I just got a text. Let me see if it's April. And it is not April. So we're just going to wait for April to pop back in. And we also know that the next mayor of Toronto, Chris Sky, is joining us in just a second there. And Chris Sky, like me, has the Toronto police all over him while he's running for office. And for those who are watching this show for the first time, I've run for public office 3 times. Mayor of the city of Mississauga twice. I finished second in 2018. Followed by, I ran for mayor in Calgary, where I currently live, and that is in the Mountain Time Zone. And they locked me up in a maximum security facility for 7 weeks during that mayor run, specifically to interfere with the campaign. And the same thing is going on with Chris Sky. They haven't arrested him yet. I was thinking that they might, but they gave him, 6 traffic tickets in one night in the same 5-minute span, just to get on his nerves, to try to stop him from being able to drive a car during his campaign. This country is brutal. It is horrible. Stefanos, your thoughts on the legality of what they do in this country? Go ahead.
On which subject? There's so many.
Well, using the courts to stop someone for running for office. There you go.
Yeah, well, the legality is, if they do that kind of stuff, it's up to that person who gets stopped from doing that to have constitutional challenges come forward, or constitutional questions, I should say. And then lawsuits. Always follow them up with lawsuits. I'd like to know, why are we all who are being targeted not suing? But you're always getting targeted. You're always getting sued. And when I'm saying you are, I'm talking in people in general who have been standing up to this stuff. Getting arrested, getting sued. Nobody ever spoke back. How many newspapers called everybody white supremacists? How many, called a particular group or individuals this kind of stuff? Racist, whatever. Lawsuit, one after the other. And it should be there. But first and foremost, constitutional challenges, because that's a constitutional right you have to run for office.
I don't take offense to the statement of being a white supremacist.
Well, I don't take offense to any phrase, but I mean, they're still going to use it to try to guilt you into something. The idea of calling you a name like that, especially in the public forum when you're running for public office, is that they know that stupid people are going to believe it. And Lord knows how many times when I was running for Calgary, I got the words F you and middle fingers, and people shouting at the car, "Hey, Johnston, you're a racist." And why would they do that? Because the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation told them to, because CTV told them to, because the Calgary Herald told them to, because all these ridiculous far left media outlets. And for our American friends watching today, that is all we have here. Fox News had Tucker Carlson. Now they have screwed up immensely. So they are now going to be far left. We don't have any kind of Fox News the way they used to be. Nothing.
Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is this shirt is white. I'm more of a beige, working on going tan soon. So
I don't know. You look pink and gray to me, and your lungs are black. So, there we go. Chris Sky, the next mayor of Toronto, everybody, has joined us here. Chris, looking good, brother. How is everything going for the campaign? Let's hear it.
Absolutely fantastic. I just finished at the gym. That's why I was late. That's why I'm in my tank top, because I was on my round 2 of the gym. Barely got it done in time, but here we are. The campaign is going absolutely incredibly. We had over 2,000 people show up at our barbecue on the weekend. It was literally a nonstop lineup for the barbecue from about 1:30 all the way till 7 o'clock at night. It was just line up to the street and just non-stop. And it was extra hectic because of the nature of the event. We're used to throwing protests where people are gathering and waiting for the speakers. Here, everybody came, had a thing, mingled, and then they moved on. So it was like people coming through, not staying for hours and hours. So as they're coming through, they all want to talk to you before they go. And you see how I normally get bombarded at protests. This was on another level because of the nature of how people were coming and going at a quicker pace. It was hectic. It was crazy, but it was crazy in the best possible way. And we had so many happy people. We had so many families there. We ended up getting a huge endorsement out of the barbecue. We had to make over 1,600 hamburgers by hand. And we were in Scarborough, so we went to a local butcher and we got halal beef. We had 350 pounds of halal beef. We lined up the parchment paper on the island, and we had ice cream scoops, and just boom, 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 boom. 1,600 burgers later, and then we had 500 ice cream cones, 1,000 hot dogs, 500 lamb kebabs, over 500 servings of cotton candy. It was crazy, and everything just went as perfectly as you possibly could imagine. David Menzies was there from Rebel News. Remember what happened with him? I had to walk out of an interview with them a couple of years ago, and we hadn't really talked since then, even though I was religiously on their channel before then. But he actually showed up. We did a really nice interview. We had a really good time. And I think that video is going pretty viral because the interview I did with him, somebody clipped something of it, me talking about Olivia Chow, and it's on 6 Buzz. It's on Straight Out of the Six. It was on, I believe, even Real Toronto News. And these are all great local things. I want to point out how corrupt, everybody understands how corrupt our government is. Everybody gets that now after what happened with COVID. But people still don't understand how corrupt the media is. And how the media is literally just an extension of the government. Every one of your news stations, I don't care if your favorite is CP24, CTV, CBC, Global, etc., they all take a plethora of government money, which means they are controlled by the government. It doesn't matter what their logo says. It might as well be Trudeau talking through your TV to you. That's how controlled they are. How do I know this for sure? How can I prove this? Well, I can't run any ads on any media anywhere in Toronto. I can't run ads on the radio. I can't run ads on the TV. I can't run ads on a bus. I can't run ads on the TTC. Why? Because they're all controlled by the same media corporations that take money from the government. And the government said, you are not going to promote Chris Sky. And it's that simple. So they will not even call us back. I'm gonna prove this to you guys. I'm gonna start calling them every day, multiple times a day, which we have been doing. Only now I'm going to actually record these conversations that don't even happen because they won't even pick up the phone. And you're going to see how many times we try to call all these individuals. And I'm going to make a collage at the end to show you just how absolutely ridiculous this is and how they're literally so scared of me. Not only will they try to silence me, not only will they try to arrest me, not only will they try to discredit me, but they will not even allow me to advertise. This is how the left works. The left believes they are right, and they believe that that morally justifies anything. They can lie, they can cheat, they can steal, they can murder you, they can censor you, and it's all okay, even encouraged, because their goals are so meaningful and their goals are so pure. And we all know how full of crap that is. And we all know that every single candidate on that fake news is also fake. Anthony Fury calling you out, you pathetic loser. Did you see who he got an endorsement from today?
No, what happened? Let me hear it.
Well, Anthony Fury, he's thrilled. Those are his words, thrilled on his Twitter to get the endorsement of the Honorable John Baird of the World Economic Forum and a senior strategic advisor at the Eurasia Group. These are literally the two worst globalist organizations in the world besides the WHO, and he's proud and thrilled, according to himself, to be endorsed as the next World Economic Forum puppet backed by the so-called Conservative Party now running for mayor. So we have Olivia Chow, who's got 40 years in politics, which means she's never made money in her life and only worked as a sculptor. Then we got Anthony Fury, who's endorsed by the World Economic Forum, like he pretends it's a good thing. Next, he's going to be telling us how he's endorsed by Bill Gates, and we're supposed to be voting for these people. Meanwhile, people like me are not even allowed a platform. Well, guess what? We're giving ourselves a platform. You all saw the debate they had at the Daily Bread Food Bank, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, guess what? We're doing a debate at the Daily Bread Food Bank Part 2. Only I'm going to be included in this group of 6 people. It's going to be nationally televised. It's going to be internationally streamed, and nobody's going to be able to run and hide from me. I'm finally going to get on TV. I'm finally going to get my message out. I'm finally going to get to talk about the real issues like the 15-minute cities and the SOGI they're trying to push through. By the way, Olivia Chow and Mitzi Hunter were both 2 of the mayoral candidates who were upset about the fact that the Catholic school board decided to not hang the rainbow flag.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
that's a great thing. Do
Hunter,
not
yeah.
hang the rainbow flag. There's no need for a rainbow flag. The only flag that should be hung at any school is a Canadian flag, and maybe a flag of that school if they have one. That's it. No political agendas, especially no LGBT agenda for children, and especially no drag queen performances at children's schools like the one sponsored by our current deputy mayor, Jennifer McAlvey at York Mills Collegiate, that I had to throw a protest at and had to stop. And well, guess what? If you guys try that again, I'm going to stop it again. Did you see they tried to cancel Canada Day?
Oh, yeah.
In fact, they did cancel Canada Day in Calgary. They did cancel Canada Day in Vancouver. They said it's canceled indefinitely in Vancouver. And then they did the same thing in Toronto. But guess what? Toronto has me. So I stood up to them and I said, what the hell is this? I go, we don't have enough money for Canada Day fireworks, but we got enough money for an entire month of Pride? And that went viral all over the internet. And surprise, surprise, 24 hours later, after me and Jordan Peterson both went viral trying to crap all over the provincial government, Toronto has the only place that has the fireworks back on. But I'm sure everybody, that's a coincidence. It had nothing to do with me, nothing to do with Jordan Peterson. They just decided in their benevolent good hearts to give you your fireworks back when every other major city in the country stopped them. So this just goes to show that they do have a nefarious agenda. This goes to show that their nefarious agenda is coordinated still countrywide and internationally. And it just goes to show that I am not part of their agenda, and in fact, I am the only thing preventing their agenda. And if we speak out, if we come together, we will absolutely destroy them. Our base of support is over 500,000 voters. There is an anomaly in this election, ladies and gentlemen, and we have to talk about it because it's very strange. It's never happened in human history before, and there's so many record-breaking things happening with this election. First of all, it's the first election where there's over 100 candidates. Meanwhile, only 5 of us have an actual office. So that's how serious most of these candidates are. Number 2, and this is the most important one. In the 2022 election, and listen carefully, there was only 1.6 million registered voters, and only 30% of the total electorate, not even 29% of the total electorate, went out to vote. That means over 70% of the people were like me, and they chose not to vote. Those are our supporters. Those are the people that would vote for me if they actually get off their ass. They would vote for me. So we got to get them to vote. But here's the thing. This is a by-election. Now, a by-election, they anticipated would only have around 300,000 total votes as opposed to the almost 600,000 in the normal election. However, when we got the numbers, and we got the numbers May 15th, we put them through some very advanced election software. And it took about a week to do the analysis. And when I got the analysis back, guess what it showed us?
Hit me.
There are now 1.9 million or 300,000 brand new registered voters for this election.
Wow.
Hey, remember, this is what they do. This is how they do it. They'll rent. They'll do whatever. It
gets better. It gets better. It gets better, but worse, actually. Every single one of those 300,000 new voters is also eligible for the mail-in votes. So if we end up seeing, and because we have the analysis tools, if we end up seeing someone like Olivia Chow, for instance, get 200,000 or 300,000 more votes than we expect her to get, and it's all from these brand new registered voters, and all these brand new registered voters decided to use mail-in ballots, we got more than enough evidence to prove voter fraud, and that's why we're talking about this beforehand, because it's a high probability. They don't have Dominion voting machines, they don't have the Electoral College, they don't have seats, but they have mail-in ballots, and they have an extra 300,000 newly registered voters in a by-election, which has never happened before in human history anywhere in the world, to my knowledge. So this is a very, very special election, and even if they cheated and gave someone 300,000 votes, we still have more than enough support to win. Like I said, the only problem is someone like Olivia Chow's support on the far left, they vote every single time. My supporters, the moderates, and the people on the right, they normally don't vote. But they normally don't vote because there's nobody to vote for. If I've never voted in my life, because every time I look at the candidates, I'm like, I would never vote for any of these people. And I don't blame the other 70% of the people for not voting either. But this is the one time, ladies and gentlemen, where your vote will matter, your vote will count, your vote will be able to shape your future. Whether you're 18 years old or you're 88 years old, if you vote for Olivia Chow, you're going to get higher taxes across the board. You're going to get bigger government, more government spending, more poverty, longer lines at the food bank, and you're not going to be happy. If you vote for me, you're going to have fiscal responsibility, smaller government, a massive increase in government revenue, which will offset the budget deficit and allow us to actually lower taxes, new and better government services, more and more affordable housing, a rent-to-own program. We have a plan to help get rid of the garbage and create clean energy while doing it. We have a plan to lower the food costs and create local food production. We have a plan for Toronto that is going to give a Toronto of the future, like the Toronto we should have already had 10 years ago. We are going to have the Toronto we should have if you vote for me. Now, they're running a massive propaganda campaign. Olivia Chow is untouchable and Chris Sky is unwinnable. Those two psychological ploys together are extremely powerful. It emboldens Olivia Chow's base and it disenfranchises my base. It makes them feel like their vote doesn't matter. It makes them feel like they're hopeless, they're powerless. It makes them feel like me running makes no difference. It could not be further from the truth, and I can prove it. Because if I was lying to you and they weren't terrified, they would put me on TV. They would put me in their debates. They would put me everywhere to show everybody how fair and balanced the election is. They wouldn't be banning my ads. They wouldn't be keeping me off TV. They wouldn't be pretending I don't exist. They're doing all that because they know you have the power to put me in position. You have the power to choose your destiny. You have the power to choose a representative of the people, not another politician. You already know what the politicians are going to do. We already know they want to lock you down. We already know they want to do 15-minute cities. We already know they want to bring in Soji. We already know they want to raise your taxes. We already know they want to reduce your mobility. So why the hell would you keep voting for the same people that caused every single problem in this city and the lockdowns on top of that? That's the reality. Every single one they show you on TV was part of the problem for decades, not even years, decades. And in the last 3 years, they showed you what they thought of you. They're up here, you're down here. Your voice doesn't matter. All that matters is you listen to them. Well, that's not going to happen anymore. Your voice does matter. You do have power. You can choose your destiny. Young people, you never vote. Get up and vote. Make it cool. Make it a thing. Get with your friends. Get in your cars. Make a convoy and go and vote. When they see you lining up at the polls, they are going to crap their pants because you are the generation that has never ever stood up for yourself, and this is your chance. And you keep asking me, I have all these 20-year-old young people coming up to me, well, how am I ever going to own a home? Well, you're going to vote for me and I'm going to make it possible. Or you're going to sit at home, you're going to do nothing, and you're going to complain the rest of your life why your life sucks. If you want change, if you want positive, tangible differences in your life, in your community, you're going to have to get off your ass and you're going to have to vote for me. It's that simple. That is all it. That's it. There's only one thing. That's all you got to do. Everyone's been asking me for the last 3 years, how can I help? How can I do my part? What can I do? Oh, I'm only one person. Well, your vote matters now more than ever before. Because I don't just want to win this election. I know I want to win. I want to win with a historic record-breaking margin so we inspire a populist uprising at the municipal level all over Canada, all over North America, and all around the world. This has to be where the revolution begins. The revolution of thought, the revolution of mind, the revolution of the people realizing they have the power, and it's time to take that power back. It's time to give Toronto back to the people.
Chris, I agree with everything you said. And yeah, you know what, everyone? Don't be lazy. Now, I'm not running for office, so I'm going to be a little bit harsher than Chris is right now. Get off your asses. Never mind the donuts, the pizza, the beer. Forget about the NHL and the NBA and all that stupid garbage that doesn't help your life. It's only one trip to vote once, so go do it. There you go. And Hamza was asking here, is there some type of agenda against you? Because Olivia Chow is the only one getting press. Yeah, there is.
Of course, there's an agenda against me, guys. Come on. Otherwise, I'd be on TV. I wouldn't have to be on doing all the podcasts that I'm doing. Why are they all on TV and we're doing podcasts? And I want to point something out. Remember when I got assaulted? Even when I got assaulted by the police on camera, they didn't put that in the news. If that was any other candidate, it would have been news. The only way it would have been news for me if I was the one pushing the police officer. Then it would have been on a 24-hour loop. And by the way, I did file complaints against both officers. And guess what happened? I got a call from the senior investigator of the OIPIRD, and they are investigating both officers. And the investigation is starting in the next day or two. And this senior investigator is actually a supporter of mine. Would you look at that? And they acknowledge that I've been persecuted the last 3 years. In fact, just 3 days ago, Kevin, I beat my 72nd charge. I did not have to fly back to Edmonton. My wife did because she needed to go see the dogs and she needed to do some stuff for us and she needed to pick up the stuff for us that the police had stolen. But they told me I needed to go back to Edmonton to do fingerprints for the arrest in the airport. And I was like, I don't want to go back. I got the election to do this. It's ridiculous. They said, well, you have no choice. You got to go back and do your fingerprints. I said, you know what? If you're going to make me fly all the way there to do my fingerprints, once I do those fingerprints, I'm not making any deal with you. I'm not going to let you withdraw those charges. I'm going to take it to trial, and I'm going to publicly embarrass you so bad, you're going to regret that decision. They called my lawyer back in an hour and they withdrew both charges against my wife and I. That's how full of crap these guys are.
Excellent. And Chris, you'll be happy to know that the 6 charges they laid on me for being a journalist 2 years ago, they dumped all of them and turned it into trespassing. So all that garbage is gone. You know, like they wanted me to plead guilty to forcible entry for walking into a store without a mask. They wanted me to plead to assault after I got assaulted and causing all kinds of crazy charges. But yeah, they realize that their narrative is weak, foolish, childish, falling apart, and nobody wants it anymore. So congratulations to you on that.
Oh, I want to talk about something else too. When they talk about the polls, right, and they say Olivia Child's untouchable, she's got 30%. First of all, they intentionally leave me out of those polls. We'll get to that. But they also they leave out the last 2 categories in the poll. One category is undecided voters, which was about 20%. And the last category was voting for someone else, anybody but Chow, which was also around 20%. So the undecided voters and the people not voting for Chow was more than her percentage, yet they say she's untouchable, which is absolute lunacy and absolutely ludicrous. And it's just more lies and propaganda. In fact, Joe Warmington of the Toronto Sun, a mainstream media publication, decided he wanted to make it a little more fair. So he made a whole bunch of polls on Twitter from his own personal account. And he had a bunch of candidates because you could only put 4 people in a poll. So he made sure that in my poll, it was me versus Olivia Chow versus Mark Saunders versus Anthony Fury, who would be my biggest competition because we both have the conservative and moderate vote in mind. Well, guess what happened? I got about 60% of all the votes, which was more than all the other candidates combined in the poll. Olivia Chow had about 5%. So I had 12 times the support that she had in that poll. So then Joe Warmington took it a step further, and he took the winners of all the polls and put them together to see who the big winner was of all the winners. And in that poll, I got 79.8% of the total vote. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much. So those polls that you see on TV, you might as well wipe your butt with them.
Oh, yeah.
Chris, any chance?
All of them. I've run 3 times for office. I can tell you, they're all lies. Every single one. Ed, go ahead.
Anything you can do about the fluoride in the water, in the city water?
In the city water, I think part of it is municipal, but I think part of it's provincial. So I have to look into that. But that would be something I would look into because there should not be fluoride in the water. It's a neurotoxin, a known neurotoxin, a known poison, one of the most potent known to man, to be honest.
Let them have it, Chris. I'm glad you're running.
Yeah, we are so happy you're running. By the way, Hamza, this is a question here about Peel Region being divided. I'll have to address that one properly. That's about a 15-minute answer. Okay, Chris, so we got about 2 minutes to go here. How does everyone reach you? Go ahead.
Well, you got my website right there, chrissky4change.com. From there, you can email us. From there, you can donate if you're from Ontario. To donate, you just click the donate button, choose the amount, click the little shopping cart at the top right corner to check out. You can check out with a debit or credit card. It goes right into the official campaign account, and we get to use that for things like our signs. Signs is pretty much the only way we can advertise. Signs and the shirts I make. And the shirts are fantastic, but people actually wear my shirts, and they wear them everywhere. So those are amazing. The lawn signs are great, but those big lawn signs that they use cost about $20 per sign. And you need something like 2,000 of those big signs. So you're talking about $40,000, $50,000 that you're literally going to be throwing in the frigging garbage unless you can sell those signs as you're getting them. So there's huge expenses with the election. There's huge expenses just on a daily basis to have an election. So I understand why most of the candidates don't even have an office. But let's be real. Olivia Chow had her grand opening. Her office is about not even 10-minute drive from mine. And she had the mainstream media to promote her entire event. She had about 30, 40 people show up. We were blacklisted. They even tried to tell people that our event was canceled. They even tried having people call the cops on us to try and cancel it. And we still had over 2,000 people. How do you compete with that? How do you pretend like we don't exist? And this Saturday, we're going to be going to Downsview Park. And Downsview Park has the largest indoor market in Canada, almost 600 stores. And they like us there. So they got our election signs up. So when we go there, I'm going to be recognized by everybody who didn't even know who the hell I was because my face is all over that place. So it's going to be a crazy, crazy time Saturday at Downsview Park. I'm going to be there at 12 o'clock. We're going to have a big crew with us walking around. We're going to be giving out stuff, flyers. We're having another barbecue June 24th, right before the election. It's going to be way bigger than the last one. We're going to have real acts, real entertainment like comedians and stuff, so people will all want to stick around. It's going to be insane. And I want to remind everybody, June 15th, I'm going to be in the televised debate at the Daily Bread Food Bank, me and 5 other candidates, and it's going to be absolutely spectacular. I think it's going to get a lot more viewership and a lot higher ratings than the first debate. Let's just put it that way.
Chris, we have a larger number of Americans watching today. Do you have any messages for them about Canadian politics? Go ahead.
Canadian politics is just as corrupt as your politics. You guys have Republicans and Democrats in a two-party system, and we have the Liberals and the Conservatives. And they're just like you guys. They're getting closer and closer together that you can barely tell them apart these days. And that's the problem, because they want it like that. So that way you can vote one way, vote the other way, but no matter what, nothing changes. And now they're trying to bring that down into municipal politics as well. And what are we seeing? We're seeing every single year, whether you're in Canada or the States, government getting bigger, government getting more powerful, government getting more expensive. And every single year, they do less with more, and they're trying to make us do more with less. And it shouldn't be like that. It should be the exact opposite. We need to run government like a corporation. We need to run it efficiently. We need to run it with budget surpluses, not budget deficits. They have so much budget deficit that they're not even telling people about because it's illegal for our city to hold debt. And I'm going to put the cat out of the bag here. They're probably going to try to shoot me for telling people this. But you know how they hide the debt, ladies and gentlemen? I know a little bit about accounting, and we had some people do some looking at this. Right on their balance sheet, they have the debt hidden, and they call it non-performing assets. Because if they called it debt, it would be illegal, and they'd all go to jail. So they just lie and call it non-performing assets. And now because it's called something different on the balance sheet, technically it's not debt, so technically they can get away with it. In reality, it is debt, and that's why we keep getting screwed every year, and that's why our city gets worse every year, less safe, less happy, less freedom, less mobility, and less opportunity. And
Chris,
if we don't
the
stop it,
televised debate, sorry to cut you off because we're out of time. What's the televised debate time?
we don't know. We're going to have the info tomorrow. I'm working with the CEO of the Daily Bread Food Bank personally to get the details tomorrow. What we do believe is going to happen is like there's going to be 500 tickets available for this event, and I believe they're going to be very highly sought after. Let's just put it that way. I
have a feeling that you're absolutely correct. Chris, I love you, brother. Thanks for being here, and I guess we'll see you next week. 100%. Hopefully I'm not in such a rush and I can be a little bit more presentable for you guys next time. But I think what I say has I'm sure the ladies like the pecks and the traps. Everything's fine. Thanks for being here, brother.
Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Cheers. That's Chris Sky, the next mayor of Toronto, everybody. What a wonderful guy. You know, I've met a lot of politicians. In fact, I would say I've met all the ones that matter in the country. And Chris is the only one who's legit. I'm so fed up with politicians in general, which is why we got to stop voting for politicians and start putting human beings in office. And Chris Sky certainly is that. So that's June 15th, everyone. Chris will, next week, he'll be on the show next week again, and he'll announce the date, time, and channel that you can watch him on. Steph, we got to go. What's your final words, pal?
Just everybody in Toronto paying attention. Pay attention to Olivia Chow. Look her up. She's got communist ties to the Chinese Communist Party, and she just recently got a donation. I think it was like $240,000 to her charity, which is being suspected going to go back into this campaign.
Of course it will. Absolutely. And Ed, what are your final words there, bud? I know you've got some song you'd like us all to hear tonight. Ed, microphone. You did it again. Ed.
Did you download that video?
Yeah, it's waiting for you right there. You ready to click it or should I click it?
You click it because I can't find it.
Okay, good. Anything else?
See you guys next week.
Love you, buddy. Thanks for being here. That's Ed Janisek, everyone. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. This is the Kevin J. Johnston Show. We bring you the truth as best we possibly can. Regrettably, we're stuck with the internet, but that seems to be okay for all of you. We love you all for being here. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you to all of April LaJune's audience for joining us tonight. We know that you love her and we love having her here. And we're always eternally grateful for everybody who decides to be a part of our Tuesday night show. The Kevin J. Johnston Show is every Tuesday, 9 p.m. New York time, 7 p.m. Calgary time. You'll catch us right there. freedomreport.ca. Always watch the archive show on Rumble. If you type in freedomreport.ca, you'll be on our Rumble channel. We will see you all again next week. I love you all and good night.
Oh, here's a little song I wrote. You're mandated to sing it note for note. You'll own nothing and be happy. It's time for the new world order. Confiscating the bricks and mortar, own nothing and be happy. Digital currency, electric cars. Try to run, but you won't get far. Own nothing. Be happy. You're getting the hang of this. Okay, fewer people, less CO2. I'm determined to see it through. Own nothing. And be happy. See, look how happy I am. eat the wheel, you eat the bugs. Don't comply and get jailed, thug. Own nothing. Be happy. Another pandemic is on the horizon, but I'll just sit back and enjoy a Hefeweizen. Own nothing. Be happy. Everybody. That's right. Here's a little song I wrote. You better sing it, note for note. Oh, nothing. Be happy. I'm so carefree. You want some things to call your own? And we can't wait to come take your home. You own nothing. Hey, be happy.